With a new year comes resolutions. Maybe yours was tied into your finances. Our next guest says there are some new rules that you need to be aware of. With us this morning is financial professional Anthony Pellegrino with Goldstone Financial Group. Good morning, Anthony.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you.
Good. Happy New Year. Good to see you. Let's talk about resolutions. Do a lot of people center them around our finances, around our money? And do we keep those resolutions?
Well, that's a great question. Of course, people do have resolutions when it comes to their finances, but 25% of people throw in the towel on their resolutions 1 week in. And in fact, sadly, the second Friday in January is known as National Quitters Day. Ooh. So a lot of people throw in the towel by week 2.
How do we get back on track? Because that's got to be incredibly discouraging. And by the way, I'm one of those people. I promised
You're
myself.
You're not alone. Many are.
Weekly, I would put into retirement. I promised, not a lot, just something, and I haven't done it yet. And now I'm like, well, it's February. Why do it now?
Well, I mean, a couple things. Look, know your why, right? So why did you have that financial goal in the first place, okay? For example, let's say you're someone who wanted to put an extra $500 a month away or towards your mortgage, let's say, correct? So you want to take a look, what are the long-term impacts of the short-term decisions we make? And I think something like that can add up. So you have to stick to the goal, try to keep yourself motivated, and create an action plan to do that.
And what about new year, new rules? What do we need to know? Are we talking tax bracket changes, retirement account changes? What are we talking about?
So there are, for instance, if you're a couple filing your taxes jointly, there's an increase in the tax bracket. So your income would have to go up another $20,000 to stay in that highest bracket. But what's really important to know, 401k increases took place. So you can add an extra $1,000 a year into a 401k. Things to be aware of. During the COVID years, you did not have to take a required minimum distribution, an RMD. Well, the following year, that fired back up and you had to do that. So some people made the mistake and they didn't make the RMD because they got in that habit the prior year and they got hit with a 50% penalty from the IRS and taxes were still due. So yes, I do believe it's important to pay attention to some of the rules that change on an annual basis.
We've been hearing a lot already this year about inflation. Is that something that we should be worried about? Do we just kind of live our life and not worry about it? Or how do we manage that with our finances?
Well, I mean, here, good news is we've got an increase to Social Security, right? So that's the first time in 5 years. So there's some money coming in to help offset that. Keep in mind, the average Social Security went up, $92 a month. And Medicare went up some, so about $22. So think of your left pocket as the income, right? And the right pocket is your expenses. So even though it went up some, you have that expense. However, yes, year over year, the average inflation went up 7%. So anyone that's going to the grocery store, buying cars, going out for dinners, you're noticing the impact. So you definitely want to be conscious of that because a lot of the financial economists do not see that slowing down, unfortunately. So pay attention to inflation. Back to what you said about starting off the year, if you automate what you're putting into a 401k, it usually takes 4 to 7 months and you get used to it and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So I'd recommend try to get in that habit, put the money aside, let it grow because you want something to continue to grow to offset the inflation we'll probably continue to experience for at least the next several years to come.
I promised myself I'm going to do it now that you've inspired me. For more information, go to goldstonefinancialgroup.com. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.